Welcome to another episode of Kari's Kitchen. You may be noticing that we're actually not in the kitchen today, and you may have already noticed that this is not my husband, Jeff. This is Sean Robinson, and he's our hospitality manager at the Cornerstone Cellars for both of the tasting rooms that we have located here in Napa. So today we're in our downtown location.
That's right.
And we have a special treat today. We are going to share with our viewers the pairing that we do with the Oenotri restaurant. So we've got 4 wines in the Cornerstone flight here today.
Correct.
And we've got 4 really beautiful nibbles. I think we can see that on the camera there. So we're going to just kind of walk through the wines that we offer and talk just a little bit about what the pairings are and how we came up with the combinations that we did. So this is one of those instances where we had the wine first, and we've decided to find the recipes that pair well with the wines. Unlike last week, when the episode that we did where we had the recipe and then we decided the wine. So we kind of did it reverse. So let's get started.
Yes.
So we've got 4 wines in front of us. So the first one that I've got is
It's our 2018 Farina Vineyard Sauvignon Blanc. This is a wine that garnered us an award in our very first vintage of being one of the top 10 wines in Napa, and comes from Sonoma, and it has a lot of really good deep fruit tones here. A nice pineapple or tropical fruit note on the finish that I really love. And it's paired gorgeously with Oenotri's Hamachi Crudo, with a little bit of chef's homegrown mandarin quad, some extra virgin olive oil, and Malden salt.
Well, that sounds great. I think it's important that you grab that glass.
Yes.
And we
cheers.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me.
This is really excellent. I've done this tasting with you a number of times here at Cornerstone, and it's such a great experience.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, we've got some friends and family that you have to drink on that, by the way.
Okay, cheers.
We have some friends and family that still talk about you, that loved the experience.
Excellent.
And one of them signed up to be a club member.
That's right.
So she's a member of the Cornerstone Club, Wine Club now. So our first nibble goes with the Sauvignon Blanc.
That's exactly right. And I often, and while you're enjoying that bite, I'll talk to you a little bit.
Okay.
I often advise our guests to take a few sips of wine first. And in any food and wine pairing, you want to take a couple sips of wine first before you get into the bite. The first few sips are generally going to temper your palate for any acidity that might be on the wine, so that by the time you get to the bite, you're really not having to muscle through all of that acidity and other business. You can get right to the flavors.
You're right about that wine. That's got, and I as the winemaker, you would think I taste it all the time, and I don't.
Right.
And I taste it right up until we bottle it, and then we taste it occasionally, but that's got that beautiful citrus and tropical notes that you were saying.
Absolutely, absolutely.
So now I'm going to try the Hamachi Crudo.
Please do.
Oh, yeah. First of all, that's delicious.
Yes, and we're trying to use the creamy texture of the fish along with the citrus nature of the mandarin quat to really pull out the citrus notes that we have on the wine. This particular Sauvignon Blanc as well goes through the 3 forms of fermentation that we typically see: stainless steel, concrete, and a little bit of neutral barreling. And it's the barreling at the end that is adding to the creaminess, just a light creaminess to this wine that really has the tendency to latch onto the creaminess of the fish texture.
And there's a little bit of finishing salt in there.
That's right.
That makes that just a little bit fruitier.
That's exactly right.
A little bit juicier.
That's exactly right.
Nice. That's a great pair.
Yeah.
See, I thought the wine was beautiful wine. Like you said, I fermented in concrete egg.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a new interesting thing for us. We've only had it for about 4 vintages now. So then we use a little bit of neutral French oak. We also use some acacia wood, which is, it's the only thing I use for Sauvignon Blanc, and it gives that sort of that soft kind of floral.
Sure. Without
smoky toastiness of a toasted barrel. So, wow, that's a chef really nailed that.
Perfect, yeah.
Yeah,
it
chef
really
nailed
is.
that. All right.
And then we generally get into the reds after that, of course. And that's what we're really known for. We've got 3 reds that we're pairing here. We have our Santa Rita Hills Pinot Noir, and then 2 wines from Oakville Station, the Merlot and the Cabernet Sauvignon.
Mhm.
Paired perfectly, in my opinion, with chef's bites here. By the way, Kari, I don't know if you know, but all of the items on our particular pairing menu can be found in some form at Oenotri. However, the bites that we have for us are very specific to us. So you won't see this exact bite there, but the components of these bites are going to be on the menu.
Because I was going to leave
He's
here and
done
go
some
order
special
those.
things. No, he's done some special things for us, including the ravioli.
Oh, great.
So shall we talk about?
Yeah, so what I have in my hand now,
Yeah.
I believe is a 2017 Pinot Noir.
That is
right?
correct. Beautiful.
From Santa Rita Hills,
Yes.
down in Santa Barbara County.
Yeah.
This is coming from the Fiddlesticks Vineyard, which is just a really great spot. Kathy Joseph has owned and farmed that land for over 25 years. I actually met Kathy through my husband Jeff, who, if we weren't here, he'd be sitting right here.
I know.
And she's been great to work with. She's been farming this for many, many years. And what I love about this is there's 2 Dijon clones in there. It's clone 667 and clone 777. So they're 2 of my favorite clones that end up about half and half.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm going to sip, then we'll taste, and
Yes.
then we'll come back and taste again.
So we have a little bit of acidity here because Pinot has a little bit of that. Or we certainly have the lighter acidic fruits on the top, a little bit of raspberry and cherry. The best part, though, Kari, about this wine for me is the finish. That kind of light, smoky red plum that my palate receives here is just phenomenal, and it really lends itself to a lot of different types of foods, for sure.
I do. I think that about Pinot Noir as well. I drink a lot of it just to be sure. Like
Yes,
I just
absolutely.
want to be sure that's true, and it does go with just about everything.
It does, including movie popcorn, by the way.
Movie popcorn, ribeye steak, bacon.
Sure.
It goes with just about everything.
Yeah.
Would you mind, let's chop these up a little bit. I
Let's
know
do
they're
it.
beautiful, but we
Yeah,
should, so we
let's do
can
it.
nibble on them.
So
How
with
about that?
the Santa Rita Hills Pinot Noir, we have a wild mushroom infused arancini
Nice.
and a grilled scallion to go along with that. And of course, we're using the earthiness of the mushrooms and the scallion to kind of attach to the earthiness of the Pinot Noir.
Nice.
The 2 other wines we have from Oakville Station Vineyard. And Oakville Station is run by UC Davis, by the viticulture program there. The students are really running the vineyard there and giving a nice reputation to that spot.
So we're going to go to the Merlot next.
Yes.
Right, let's.
So the Pinot with the arancini, the Merlot with the raviolo with pork ragout, and the Cabernet Sauvignon with hanger steak. But we'll get to that.
All right. I'm going to try to, let's just
Please
work
do
our
it.
way from the left
Let's
to the
do
right.
it,
Or
yeah.
opposite.
Yeah. And this is another, I love the lightly infused flavor of the arancini. There's also a little bit of warming spice here, so you might taste a little bit of nutmeg, perhaps even some allspice, but it's really just a whisper. And that is also attaching itself to the light spice that we have on the finish of the Pinot Noir.
Oh, we're going to start making these at home. Oh my goodness.
Nothing beats a fried ball of
Rice. The rice is cooked beautifully. It's got a nice coating on it. Again, there's salt in there. There's some finishing salt. But I would say, even for those of you that don't like mushrooms, and I know some of you don't, it doesn't taste mushroomy.
Nope.
There's
It's just lightly infused.
earthiness to it. It almost like there's a sense of umami in it. There's you get the texture and the feel of the mushroom, but it doesn't taste mushroomy. Now I happen to love them, but not everyone does.
Exactly. Like me, I like the flavor, but not the meat.
You don't like. See, I'm learning stuff about you.
Good stuff.
All right, that pairs perfectly.
Yeah.
Well, I do love the wine, so and I am partial to the wine, but that's a beautiful pair. Yeah, we have to talk to Chef about getting that recipe.
For sure.
Oh my God, it's delicious. All right, so the third wine we have today.
Third wine is the Oakville Station Merlot. I know Kari just mentioned bacon earlier with the Pinot Noir, but the Merlot is really where I personally want to see some good fat to that piece of meat.
Yeah.
And I think you did a bacon tasting a few weeks ago on Kari's Kitchen.
Yeah, Jeff and I did that. Yeah, and Jackson helped. He was the
That's
inspiration.
That's it.
Jackson's our hospitality guy down in the Vista Colina tasting room.
I really enjoy the Merlot with anything fatty. Ribeye, short ribs, oxtail, lamb. It all does really well with the earthy tones on the finish of this. First of all, we've got some really intense blackberry pie flavor on the top. I smell a little bit of maybe bourbon vanilla before I dive into it. And then that earthiness on the finish that is really lending itself to all of these bites that we're talking about, whether it's the bite that Oenotri is pairing here, or just whatever you're making at home.
Whatever you're making at home.
It's going to do well with a little bit of fat.
Yeah, this Merlot, it's not your typical Merlot. For me, this one has a lot of personality to it. This vineyard, Oakville Station, as you know, you've been there. It's in the heart of Cabernet country. It's in Oakville, but we've got these amazing neighbors around us growing Cabernet Sauvignon. And we had the University of California, Davis, plant a little bit of Merlot for us. And we take all of it every year. We've been getting this fruit from them for over 15 years. So we've got a long-standing relationship with them. And then we also get Cabernet Sauvignon from them, which we will be trying next. And we get Cabernet Franc as well. So we've got the Cabernet Franc and the Merlot we originally sourced to blend into the Cabernet. They're typical blending wines, but they've always been so good on their own. We bottle a little bit just for the wine club, a few cases that the wine club gets and the tasting rooms get, to that single varietal Merlot and some Cab Franc as well.
Right.
So Merlot it is.
Yeah, I'm not ashamed to tell you that I enjoy this wine at least 3 times a week, generally with ribeye or some other form of steak. It's perfect.
You know, I'm waiting for us to get invited over for dinner. The way you're
same.
talking,
Yeah,
yeah.
when all this is over.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to sign up for one of those ribeyes that you keep talking about.
So what we have for this wine is Oenotri's house-made raviolo with pork ragu. Inside, of course, we've got the beautiful pork, the flavors of that, the herbs, a little bit of pork fat too, and the tomato. And that's really key here because the acidity of the tomato is really kind of latching on to the light acidity that we would have, or that we have in this wine. It really kind of bumps up that blackberry note. This is one of my favorite bites.
Wow. That wine stands on its own, for sure. Like that doesn't need food, but wow, does that go well together. You're right, there's just the components you talked about. A little bit of pork, it's the tomato sauce.
Yeah.
And tomato sauce doesn't always go with every wine.
No.
But this is perfectly balanced.
Yep.
Yeah. Wow, that is a beautiful pair, and I get a little more dark fruit after the bite than I had before the bite.
Yeah.
You know, maybe when we get to the end, maybe this might actually go with the arancini as well, but it's just a thought.
Right. And that's why I like to have all of these bites on one plate too. Yeah. So our guests are able to follow along in what we're suggesting, excuse me.
Yep.
But then they can kind of bounce around with all of the different wines. And, you know, maybe the hanger steak is better with the Pinot Noir for guest A.
Or the Sauvignon Blanc.
Or the Sauvignon Blanc, exactly.
Yeah. I mean, there are nights that we've got, you know, protein, there's a meat on the table, and we're having a white wine.
Sure.
And it's beautiful.
Absolutely.
It works. So I'm willing to try it out. All
well,
right.
I drink your Pinot with salmon when I have salmon, because I don't drink a lot of white wines.
Yeah.
So I'm on the other end of that.
That salmon works though. You know, salmon with the guts or some seasoning on,
a
a
little
little
fish
salt.
taco or
Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Fourth wine.
Fourth wine is the Oakville Station Cabernet Sauvignon. In my mind, and I often say this in my presentations with guests, I think this is perfect. I think this is a perfect representation not only of the grape, but of the place. And the place is very key here as well. Nicely balanced fruit tones against the wood tannins, and it spends, about 28 months?
No, 24 to 26,
okay.
Depending. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, we do try and get a little bit of the aging done for you before it's bottled. We don't believe necessarily in buying a bottle of wine and staring at it for a decade. And we want you to enjoy the wines as we make them. And so
That's
we
for
purposefully make our wines to be enjoyed right away.
Ready right away.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely. I don't have that patience.
No.
No.
Do you want to talk a little bit about this little particular acre?
About where the Oakville station. Yeah, this again, the University of California at Davis owns this and farms this for us, and it's this little plot of land, and we just call it Oakville Station because it does butt right up against the famous Tokelon Vineyard. It was part of the same parcel. There's some politics and things that got involved over the years. So really, it's the same soil, and the same climate, and the same clones and rootstock that are planted in Tokelon. There's a fence that divides.
Right.
So we don't call it that, and we'd probably have to charge more for it if it was, but yeah, this is a beautiful spot, and the University of Davis students are out there all the time, and I can go out there any time of the year. I can check and see right now how pruning went, and it's the bud break, and vines are starting to leaf out, and they're so excited about any little thing. They're like, what'd you see? What'd you find? And I'm like, nothing, I was just, and they're like, okay, but did you see this? And they'll show me some little thing that they're super excited about, and I'm like, I don't know what that is. They go, well, we don't either yet, but I go, is it bad? You go, no, it's probably good, but but they know, and they know every vine, and they know all the clones, and it's the most well taken care of and well researched vineyard for sure in the country, and I don't know where else they would do more research.
It's a stunning wine.
So it's full body,
yes,
but not over the top, not overblown.
None of your wines are ever going to be that aggressive or smack somebody in the face.
Yeah, we're all about the texture. Yeah. Texture's super important, which is why the texture in the bites is interesting,
key as
right?
Well.
With the Hamachi Crudo, with the Sauvignon Blanc, like there's a texture there, and that sort of just melts across your palate, and a little bit of salt kind of wakes it up.
That's right.
So it's texture and Cornerstone, and we have been, this is our 33rd anniversary. Mm-hmm. We've been around 30 years, which is great. I haven't been here 30 years, but I've been here a good chunk of that. And we're about making the wines that are true to the place, and true to the grape, and true to the season.
Sure.
So every season is a little bit different. And 2017, the Merlot and the Cabernet Sauvignon are 2017, and they were stunning vintages. It was a stunning vintage. They were beautiful, and it's as much the perfect farming and the weather and all those things that come together. And my job is just to get it to the bottle without messing it up. Sure. Really. Yeah. So what are we going to pair?
The bite that the Oenotri chef came up with us, or for us, is a little bit of hanger steak, a pink peppercorn sugo sauce, and he's got a little bit of cauliflower puree on the bottom here. Oh, nice. Depending on what's fresh, it'll either be cauliflower or celery root, but it's always a perfect accompaniment to this wine.
Because I've had it when it's been celery root.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. All right, let's give this a taste. I've tasted the wine.
Yep.
So I've learned my lesson on some of the other Curious Kitchens. I usually take too big of a bite. I pour too much and I bite too much, so I'm just going to take a little bite. I love the cauliflower.
Yeah. But that pink peppercorn sugo, along with the meat, is really enhancing the beautiful fruit notes here. And kind of bringing out the wood a little bit.
This does enhance the fruit. Wow. And that's got a flavor profile though, like I'm thinking that would work with the Merlot as well.
Sure.
That'd be fun. I love that when your guests come in, they can actually now start pairing things back and forth.
Why don't you try it? Why don't you try it with a little Merlot?
I think what I want to do, I should. No, you know what I want to do?
What?
I'm going to do the pork raviolio.
There you go.
I'm going to do that with the Merlot.
Okay.
Wait, let's see. That belongs with Merlot. That Pinot. Pinot and pork. P&P.
They mix well.
Oh, it actually adds to the complexity even more. More so. Wow. Well, this is.
And that's the beauty of playing around with it. Once it's all in front of you and kind of going back and forth. And that is really the impetus for doing this experience. We want you to understand how our wines are going to play with food, whatever that might be, whatever style that might be.
And that's the intention. The wines are made to be. They don't need food. They don't need food, but they
do very well with food.
So if guests want to come and do this experience, what do they do?
You can give me a call and we can set up a reservation for you. It is available on Cellar Pass as well. The experience is available only at the downtown location, Thursday through Sunday at either 4 o'clock or 5:30. And I generally just take one reservation at a time.
Okay, just to give everyone the full experience.
Yes, exactly.
Are we we can do 6 people at a time?
That's correct.
The largest group?
That's
Okay.
correct.
And then what's the cost?
The cost is $80 per person, and the experience will take just about 90 minutes.
Okay. Ish. And then you can also just come in and do the flights or...
That's right, yeah, we have standard tastings at both locations, and here we're also able to accommodate a cheese board request, as well as a salumi board, again, from Oenotri.
House-made.
Yeah, nothing better.
I know. I honestly, I took one home the other day, and oh my goodness, the house-made salumis.
Yep.
They've got we're not. It's not an ad for them.
No,
but really,
but
it feels like
should
an ad for them
be.
just
Yeah.
because they're one of they're right here in downtown Napa. We're right across from the Andaz Hotel. You could chuck a rock and hit a note.
And they've been very good partners with us.
They've been great partners with us, and vice versa. So, and when the COVID, and we couldn't always be inside and outside, and so we kind of worked it out and shared the patio, which was nice. So
they're a great
we're
team.
open. We really want to have people come back and visit. The weather's beautiful. It's sunny, warm.
That's right.
Come on back to Napa. We're ready to have you, and give Sean a call, and we'll set you up with some Oenotri tastings, and
You got it.
it's going to be great fun.
It will.
Thank you so much for joining us. I can't remember where we're going to be next week around this time. We'll be doing something in Kari's Kitchen Live, but thank you for joining us, and in the meantime, cheers.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.